Hey there. It's me, Eden. If you are new to the channel, then please subscribe to my channel and visit my Patreon page for early access, link in the comment, thanks. After lunch, Jill and I returned to the conference room while Mom went back to the dressing room. There was a television and radio in there to help her pass the time. In the afternoon session, we started concentrating on specific scenes. We would spend the next couple of weeks rehearsing before we began shooting the first scenes. Tomorrow I was scheduled to be in the wardrobe to begin my fittings. A week after I arrived in England, I received a message when I got home that Sharon had given birth to twin girls. Mrs. Maguire had taken the message from Sharon's boyfriend Roy. The girls were 7 pounds, 10 ounces, and 7 pounds, 11 ounces. Sharon had named them Sharon Ann and Crystal Elizabeth. I called a florist and arranged for several floral pieces to be delivered to the hospital. Mom did some shopping and we sent off an enormous package of baby clothes a few days later. I asked Carol to visit Sharon and bring her whatever she needed in the way of diapers, baby formula, or even furniture. She and Roy made a good living from their work, but I didn't know if he was around or if he had left for a job. I finally spoke to Sharon a week after she returned from the hospital. I had called a couple of times, but the line had never been answered. I didn't call her service because I knew that she didn't have any plans to go away. Sharon, how are you feeling? And how are the babies? I'm doing great. I'm still a little sore, but I'm feeling a little better every day. I feel 30 pounds lighter and it's wonderful. The girls are doing fine. Both are healthy and perfect. Thanks for the nice flowers and the beautiful clothes. You're welcome. I'm glad that everything is well and that the babies are healthy. I've been trying to reach you, but the phone just keeps ringing. Are the babies sleeping well, and are you? Pretty good. They usually only wake me up once each night. The problem is that they wake each other up and then I have 2 of them screaming at the same time. Roy's not much help. He could sleep through an atomic war. It's more trouble than it's worth trying to wake him up to help me, so I do it alone. I've been so tired once I get the babies settled down that I usually unplug the phone so that I can get some sleep. Is there anything that I can do to help? No thanks, hon, we're doing okay. I can't wait for you to finish your picture and come home, though. Me too. Have you taken any pictures of the girls? Yes. Roy shot a roll a few days ago. I sent you a card yesterday with a couple of pictures in it. It'll probably take a few more days to reach you. Great. I'll keep an eye out for it. I talked for Sharon for about an hour. A pair of tiny voices crying for a meal interrupted us, so we had to cut our call short. I received the card and the pictures a few days later. I fell into a pretty standard routine over the next few weeks. I worked Monday through Saturday, went sightseeing on Sunday, spoke to Sharon whenever I could and the twins allowed, and I wrote to Debbie. In February we flew up to Iceland for a week and a half to do the necessary filming there. When we returned, I was greeted by the news that the Oscar nominations had just been announced, that Morning in California and that Under the Scarlet Maple was nominated in 4 categories, including a nomination for me for Best Actress. I was shaken because although there had been a lot of talk, I hadn't really, truly, expected it. Perhaps I would have been less surprised if I had been around while the movie was in the theaters, but I had been in Mexico, virtually cut off from most news and TV shows where it was being discussed. The news was exhilarating, however, even if neither the picture nor I won any awards. I didn't hold out any real hope that I would win because the other nominated actresses were all wonderful, established, professionals. Still, it was great to be included in such a select group. I knew from what had happened to other pictures over the years that the picture might now be re-released into theaters and revenues would probably increase by 10 to 15%. I wouldn't receive any more money for the movie sales, but I did get a small percentage of cable sales and videocassette sales, and those areas would also increase for an Oscar-nominated movie. And just having the personal nomination would propel my career forward. The next day I began to receive telegrams, sent to the studio, congratulating me on the nomination. They came from the people that I had worked with, or for, over the past couple of years. I must have received 3 dozen during the first week. I also received an invitation from the Academy to attend the awards ceremony. I talked it over with Mom and we wrestled with the decision of whether or not I should go. I didn't have a gown, although I thought that Barbara could make one for me in time, and it would mean taking time off from the picture to go to LA. I would have to find a date, although that was probably the least of my worries, and I would also have to sit there and watch someone else claim the award. I felt that I could handle the last because, down deep, I knew that I wouldn't win. Too many wonderful actresses over the years had been nominated time and again and yet not taken home an award. Both Deborah Kerr and Thelma Ritter had each been nominated 6 times for a Best and Best Supporting, without ever taking the award home. The number of world-famous actors and actresses who had never won its BAFTA award is long and distinguished. Even more amazing is the number of great actors and actresses that were never even nominated, so I felt very honored, and maybe a little scared, that I had received the nomination. I have maintained a very low profile as an actress so far. Part of it was due to my age and part of it was just because I didn't have any desire to be a part of the Hollywood scene. Except for the premieres, I hadn't attended any Hollywood-type events until now and I didn't know if I was ready to start. A couple of days after I received the invitation, a telegram from Mark Silver, the producer of Under the Scarlet Maple, came. He asked if I intended to come to the awards ceremony because he wanted to know how many from the movie would attend. The pressure was mounting for me to make a decision. I didn't know if I would ever be nominated for an award again, so I decided to go to the ceremony. After returning the invitation with the acknowledgement that I would attend, I notified Mr. Silver that I would be there. Then I phoned Barbara to tell her that I needed a gown. She naturally knew about the nomination and after spending 10 minutes congratulating me, she told me that she had already completed a design and was only waiting to hear from me before she started sewing. She said that it would be ready in time for me to pick it up on my way west. My last call was to Oliver to ask him if he would like to escort me to the Academy Awards ceremony. He accepted eagerly and we talked for about an hour about the picture, the awards ceremony, and other things. Mr. Landois told me that he would be happy to release me from filming for a week. I knew that my having been nominated for an award would be used in the promotion of the new picture when it was released. I made plans to leave on the first direct flight from London to Chicago on Thursday morning, arriving home around noon since I was traveling with the sun. Barbara would fit the gown and I would stay overnight at the house before continuing on the next day, to the condo. I would be able to rest on Saturday, and have my hair done on Sunday morning in preparation for the ceremony. My hairdresser for the new movie made the arrangements for the special appointment with a friend that had a salon in her home. On Monday I would begin my trip back and be ready to resume work on Wednesday. It was going to be hectic, but exciting. We proceeded normally with the shooting schedule over the next few weeks until it was time for me to leave. They would shoot around me while I was gone, and then catch up with my scenes when I got back. We still had to do the shooting in Spain, but that was planned for the final shooting in April. Mom drove me to Heathrow to catch my plane on the morning that I was to leave. I had worn my wig because I would be going to my hometown and the scene in the mall was still too vivid. If I had been traveling straight to LA, I would have relied only on sunglasses. Mom and I hugged and kissed at the gate when they called my flight. She wished me luck and I boarded the plane. The flight attendants recognized my name on the passenger list and were extremely attentive to me during the flight. They made me feel that I had won the award instead of just being nominated. The flight departed on time and arrived at Chicago only a few minutes late. After passing through customs, I made my way to the Admiral's Club to await my next flight. I enjoyed a cup of tea and continued reading the book that I had brought along for the trip. 20 minutes before my commuter flight was scheduled to board, I left the club and made my way to the gate. No one seemed to pay the slightest bit of attention to me, and I was content to be invisible. The commuter flight landed just after noon, local time. The arranged-for limo was waiting and, after my single suitcase was loaded into the trunk, the driver took me to the house. I gave him a tip and made sure that he was aware that I was to be picked up tomorrow morning for a ride back to the airport. After I put my suitcase in the house and turned up the heat, I retrieved the keys for Mom's car and drove down to the theater. I found Barbara and Marge in the makeup room. "Crystal, welcome home," Marge said. "Give us a hug." I hugged and kissed both of them and then sat down to talk and have a cup of tea. "Congratulations, kiddo," Barbara said. "We knew that you were good, but an Academy Award." "Wow. Not an award. Just a nomination." "There's no such thing as just a nomination where the Academy Awards are concerned. It puts you into a very elite group, made up of the very best in the movie industry." "You're right, of course. I don't know why I was chosen, but I'm honored. I don't think that I have a chance because the other nominees are such wonderful performers, but I'm looking forward to seeing the awards firsthand rather than just on television. I bet that there are people who would almost kill to get into the awards ceremony, and I've been invited. It's such a rush. You have as good a chance as any of the others." "Think positive," Marge said. "Come on, Marge. I know that the Academy does its best to keep the voting honest, but the voters are only human. They have their favorites, and there's the possibility of other considerations. I haven't been on the scene for very long. As the new kid, it would be an uphill climb just to get to the playing level where the others already are. Maybe in a few years, after I've been around for a while, and my work has been seen by more members of the Academy, I'll feel that I have a chance." "What do you mean by other considerations?" Barbara asked. "Well, it's just speculation, but it seems that if someone's friend had been nominated, and that person had never won, the voter might be strongly inclined to vote for their friend. It's just human nature. I doubt if any of the Academy members consider me a friend. I'm just too new to the industry. So I think that gives all the others an edge. And as I said before, I'm just pleased to have been nominated." "Well, we're going to be pulling for you," Marge said. "Too bad you're not Academy members," I said, smiling. "You're going to need the gown, whether you win or not, so let's get started," Barbara said. We went to the wardrobe department and Barbara showed me the beautiful gown that she had created. It was the most beautiful gown that I had ever seen. Her creation was a mauve, strapless, beaded bustier with a full-fitted skirt and 2 kick pleats. "Barbara, it's magnificent, absolutely magnificent. I don't know what else to say. Let's try it on you and see if it still looks magnificent when you're wearing it. That's the real test." 10 minutes later I was standing on a raised platform as Barbara pulled and tugged to see where adjustments would be needed. After she marked the gown, I removed it and put on a robe as she began making the changes. Barbara insisted that it be absolutely perfect, so I wore the gown through 2 more fittings and a final check over the next 3 hours. When we were done, it was a work of art. I knew that other attendees would be wearing jewelry worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, most on loan from jewelry houses looking for free publicity, but all I intended to wear was the heart-shaped pendant and earrings that Brad had given me. Barbara gave me a bracelet from the wardrobe to wear also. The stones weren't real, but it would take a jeweler to tell the difference. It sure looked real to me. It was part of a collection that had been donated to the theater years before. Please subscribe for the next part and visit my Patreon page for early access. Link in the comment. Thanks.